How do you pronounce that, Scott?
Iacovelli.
Give me that again?
Iacovelli.
Iacovelli. I apologize for that.
No problem. Not the first time.
Yeah, I'm sure not. All right, guys, thank you very much. Give us your worst sports memory.
My worst sports memory would be in 2001 at the Yankees World Series in Arizona. I'm a big-time Yankee fan, and I was at all 4 losing games. So obviously I was the biggest jinx in the world. To be at 4 Yankees World Series games, and they lost all 4, combined, it's my worst memory ever.
I'm a Jet fan, so I have numerous ones to pick from. But the last couple championship games have been really rough. Still, the one that irks me the most, I think, is the one, the Pittsburgh one from the divisional round a couple years ago. I cannot get over the fact that Herm could not, that he wasn't aggressive enough in getting them closer in field goal range, and Brian missed 2 field goals at the end of the game. Pittsburgh handed them that game, and they couldn't find a way to win. That one still bothers me to this day.
All right, I asked a question earlier about about writing a book report, but let's move over to the movies. Each of you have a favorite sports movie?
I love all sports movies, but I guess one of my favorites would be The Natural. You know, watching Robert Redford, you know, play that role and the lights get hit. It's just every boy's dream to be that kind of athlete at that kind of level. And in that movie, at the end, you just get chills.
For me, I can't imagine making a better sports movie than Hoosiers. I mean, it speaks to you on every level. The small school beating the big school at the end. You know, trying it. The David versus the Goliath. Gene Hackman's so good in it. It just, you know, it's got to be 24 years old now, 25 years old, and it was on the other night, and I turned it on. I couldn't turn it off. It's just such a great movie.
Scott, if you could spend an hour with any athlete, past or present, who would it be?
Presently, I'd probably have to say Jeter. I just think he's had such a tremendous career. I mean, he's really been I don't want to say lucky. I mean, he's certainly a very talented man, but he came in at the right time. And I would just love to know at this point, because you never get behind the private side of him in public, I'd really love to see if I could get behind the shell and really see if he has such great respect and if he really knows what a career he's really had, and you know how successful he's been and how lucky he's been. I mean, before he got there, the Yankees really were not very good for a long time, and he's known nothing but success. And I really wonder if there's a part of him that can really truly appreciate that yet.
All right, one more question, and we'll get to the monologues. Who got you guys interested in sports? Any one person, family member, whoever got you really interested in sports?
Yeah, I've always been into sports. I was that young jock as a kid. I played every single sport, and my mom and dad were divorced. And every Sunday he took us out. We played basketball. We played catch. He's thrown me a million pop-ups in my life. And then I got an older brother who beat on me my whole life, so I had to be tough.
My family's the same thing. My uncle actually took me to my first Yankee game when I was about 6 years old. It was the Yankees and Mariners. I'll never forget it. And the following year, I was at a Jet-Chiefs playoff game when I was about 7 years old. So I've been a sports fan since I'm young, but it was really my extended family that got me into it, too.
All right, one more for Dave. If you could play any sport professionally, which one would you like to play?
Oh, I mean, now that I'm older, I'd pick baseball so I'd have a long career, but still in my heart of hearts, I always want to play football. I'm 36 right now, and 2 years ago, I played Division III football at Kane until I tore my shoulder. That's how much I love the game, that even at 34, old and fat, I still went out there for 2 days, every day for 4 months until I tore my shoulder.
That's interesting. All right, let's get going with the monologues. Dave, 2-minute warning. You're on the clock. Let's hear from you.
Finally, the NFL lockout has ended. And after 4.5 months of playing chicken where neither side blinked, I got to tell you, I know who the winner was. And the winners were the owners and the players. And if both sides won, you know who lost? The loser is you, the fans. We lost. And we lost because our hard-earned money has been given to a $9 billion slice of the pie, and we get nothing back. All we do is get grief. I mean, the bottom line is, when I went to the Jets game, I'm so lost right now. I mean, you could just cut me.
Really sure? Okay, you got a minute. You still got a minute and 15 left. You want to go for it? Go for it.
No, it's okay, guys. You know what? I'll just talk to everybody. I'm actually pretty good at talking on the mic, but in this situation, what I did is I tried to memorize a 2-minute bit, and memorizing a 2-minute bit in the middle of this bar is like me trying to date Anna Kournikova. It's just not going to happen. You know, so right now, I'll just give you a little bit about all the sports I was going to talk about. Basically, I just want to tell you how the owners killed us. We're fans, and the truth is we love sports, and we love everything about it. And when it comes to the NFL lockout, they make $9 billion, and what do we get? We get to pay $110 for a Giant ticket. We get to pay $760 to get 8 Jets tickets because you can't even buy one. And then it's a $200 parking pass on top of that, regardless of which team you like. I mean, it doesn't matter which way you go about it. Everyone's about the money, and they're not about the fans. It's a shame because NFL fans are like drug addicts. And the truth is, we need our fix. And the NFL's the only dealer that we know. So basically, we're like Pookie trying to get over on Nino Brown, and that's just not going to happen. I mean, the bottom line is, I think we all just have a little bit of Bart Scott in us because we love the NFL. And if every fan out here had to say what they wanted to do at the beginning of the season, everybody here would say, can't wait.
Now, you think the owners and the players, someday, you think an owner or a group of players will ever step up and realize it's the fans who make the game?
Oh, nobody. I mean, there's no business in this country that's ever going to step up and really believe it's the customer or the fan. Everyone's always about the dollar. They're always about being greedy. They want the money in their pocket, and however they're going to get it, they'll float your boat and whistle in your ear and tell you how great you are to get it. But when they're all in that back room counting cash, they don't care what we think.
All right, let's talk about on-the-field football now that it is back. Give us 30 seconds on both what the Giants and Jets need to do in the next week to 10 days to get themselves situated for a good year.
Well, the Giants right now, they definitely have to get Steve Smith back because that's Eli Manning's security blanket. Without him, Eli has no one to go to on third down, and he's really the thing that gets the team going because anyone who knows football knows if you don't get first downs, the whole thing's over, and that's what Steve Smith does for the Giants. On the Jets side of the ball, I mean, it's obvious. They need Santonio Holmes. He's a top-notch receiver that everybody in the league covets. He could change a game on his own, and everybody knows that he had the best catch in a Super Bowl in recent memory, so a big play is right in his grasp.
All right, just a quick thing on baseball. Mets will probably trade Carlos Beltran. I mean, it's almost a foregone conclusion. Should they do one of two things, or maybe have a better idea? Get a lot of the salary paid, get a bad prospect, or try to get a better prospect and the Mets pick up the money, or maybe have another idea? If I were them, I would try and dump him for as much money as they could, because right now in baseball, there's a lot of young players out there that you could get for $3-4 million, and Carlos Beltran making $17-18 million, you could add 3 or 4 young players to your team. And if you could do that with the way the Mets are building right now, with Turner, with Ike Davis, with Murphy, with all these guys, you could build yourself a team for the future around Reyes and Wright.
All right, Dave. Nice recovery. Thank you very much.
Never give up.
Okay, thank you. All right, Scott, you're up.
Okay, there's no question that the big topic of the day is the fact that the NFL lockout is over, and it's going to now be the wild, wild west of free agency for the next couple days. I'd like to start by talking about the 2 local teams and what they should do. We'll start with the Jets, who clearly their number 1 priority is Santonio Holmes. He had such an impact on the team when he came back after the 4-game suspension last year, winning them the game in Detroit, winning them the game in Cleveland. He made a great catch in the New England playoff game last year. Clearly, Holmes is a big asset on offense. You're reading reports already that Sanchez is willing to restructure his contract to bring back both Holmes and Edwards. So they obviously understand how important it is to keep everybody together. The question I have is, if you can't get Holmes to come in at a decent price, which you don't know if you will because he's such a playmaker, and you hear that the Redskins are going to be big players for him, are they almost better off just letting Holmes go to somebody with a higher bid and bringing back Braylon Edwards and probably being able to get Cromartie back too? Do you want to just pay Holmes a ton and maybe lose the other 2 and lose on defense as well? Or do you want to be able to have a good sound offense and a good sound defense? As for the Giants, I think the big thing, as everybody knows, is the fact that Ahmad Bradshaw is a free agent. You hear a lot of talks about him going to the Dolphins. Listen, running backs to me are interchangeable. Bradshaw is a very talented player. There's no question about it. He's a good mix with Brandon Jacobs. But if Ahmad Bradshaw walks and he gets a big contract, There's no reason to believe that the Giants can't replace Bradshaw with somebody like a Ronnie Brown or any other running back that's out there. Jacobs is still a pretty successful player. He's not a 25 carry a game guy, but you can certainly bring somebody in that can help Jacobs, and I think Ronnie Brown be a good fit. For me, the most important thing for the Giants is to re-sign Steve Smith. He's become a security blanket for Eli Manning. I know he's got the leg injury. He may not be ready to go right immediately. I think Smith is really important, and of course the other thing you're reading now is Plaxico Burress may be coming back. So I think Smith is the key for the Giants.
All right, if you had to size up the two teams, who's got a better shot to win the Super Bowl this season?
I think the Jets are closer to the Super Bowl. Listen, say what you want. I think the Giants are really good. They've been 10-6 the last 2 years and not made the playoffs. But I think the Jets, they've been to the AFC Championship 2 years in a row. They're really, and both games have been close. They've both been very winnable games, especially Pittsburgh last year, the great comeback they made. I think the Jets are closer, but I don't think it's out of the question to think the Giants can. I think the NFC is very wide open.
Who do you think is the better coach, Tom Coughlin, Rex Ryan?
I'm always a Super Bowl guy. I think Coughlin's a very, very good coach. I think he gets a bad rap sometimes from Giant fans. He hasn't made the playoffs in 2 years. You know, his 1 year where he did win playoff games, they went to the Super Bowl. Coughlin's an excellent football coach. He never loses a challenge. His teams are always very well prepared. The one knock I would say on Tom is he's not been able to really fix the turnover problem the Giants have had the last 2 years. And as much as that's on the players, the head coach has got to take an issue with that. The other thing about Coughlin is he was always such a disciplinarian, and the Giants seem to commit a lot of personal fouls. But generally, I'm a guy who likes, you know, success and Super Bowl wins. As much as I like Rex, and he's a very good coach, he's proven he can win on the road in the playoffs, I would have to say right now, I'll take the experience and I'll take Coughlin.
All right, let's turn to baseball as we head to the trading deadline. And it doesn't look like the Mets will be moving Jose Reyes. Looks like they're going to wait and see how that plays out in the offseason. How do you expect that to go down with Reyes?
I think, listen, if you're a Met fan, you'd be sick to see him go. He's had such a tremendous year. I would expect Reyes is going to go out there and look at the highest bid. I think there's a part of him that loves New York, and I think truly he wants to come back. But I also think it's a business, and I think it's going to have to be a very fair market value for him to come back, the offer.
As far as the Yankees go, who's the one pitcher you think the Yankees need to have?
I think the one pitcher the Yankees need to have is Cliff Lee, and he's on the Phillies. I don't think
a guy who they can get.
I don't think there's anybody available. You keep reading about Kuroda, Hiroki Kuroda from the Dodgers, or Jimenez. I'm not in love with either of them. I don't think it's as much an upgrade. They really need a solid number two behind Sabathia. If there's one guy, I don't know if he's attainable. The Cubs are so bad. Maybe you can go get Matt Garza. But the Cubs just traded for him. I don't know if they're going to be that willing to give up Matt Garza this fast.
Who do you expect to win the World Series this year?
I'm a Yankee fan, so I believe the Yankees are going to win it every year. But their pitching really scares me. After Sabathia, Burnett's he's so frightening, Burnett. He's either brilliant or he's awful. They have no pitching after that. I hate to say this as a Yankee fan, but I think it's a Red Sox-Phillies World Series, and I think the Phillies are going to win the World Series.
All right, Scott, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right.